when the first building went up and the first sign went on the building and they had that moment of like, yeah, I did this. Well, we did this. A lot of us did this. But I thought I'd share a little bit about how I got here on this stage. I was sitting over there. My background, Design That Matters, actually started a long time ago. When I was 11, I was going to a Catholic school called Lady Isle up in New Hampshire. And they had a program for 5th and 6th graders where we'd go to an old folks home and visit people who really, they had no families. So these were the elderly who were just sort of left there in their last years. And as a kid, when that sank in, that there were people who, like, not all old people were grandparents. Yeah, that's how I felt. I mean, it's just like, how is that possible? It just didn't seem fair, and it was really distressing. And I keep running into those kinds of things where it's just not fair, and I don't like that. So after that experience, I went into undergraduate. I was studying engineering. And as you're getting near the end of your studies in undergrad, you start looking at companies. And I interviewed at one company that was building a car. There was a car company, and it sounded exciting, kind of high-tech engineering. They said, well, son, here's the deal. We're building a car. That car is going to have a radio. That radio is going to be held in by 4 screws, and those 4 screws are your job. Didn't sound so exciting. I had taken a sustainable energy course the same year. We were talking about renewable energy and sort of the future of the planet. And after weeks of talking about nuclear power, wind energy, all of these exotic technologies in the last week of the semester, and this is my last week as an undergrad, they said, oh, by the way, most of the rest of the world gets their energy from biomass. It's like, what is that? That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. So I joined the Peace Corps, and I stepped in it pretty much as soon as I got off the plane. In the Peace Corps, they say that Peace Corps is sort of reform school for young college liberals. You know, you have a lot of idealism. You go overseas and get that shorn off of you, like this haircut that I got. So the big shock for me in the Peace Corps was that after what I thought was a great education, so 5 years of undergrad, I mean, I was going the extra mile. I was astonished to find that I didn't really know anything useful. So after all of that time, I was working as a sort of a city engineer for a public works department of about 50,000 people, doing as many Peace Corps volunteers have done into history and as they will do in the future, school latrines. There were about 20,000 students in this community, none of which had bathrooms in their schools. So I started talking to them, you know, I can do this, we can build this. I talked to the Public Works Department about getting plans. Yeah, and there was another moment like that. I asked for the plans of the school, and they all had latrines in them. I said, well, okay, so where's the latrines? Oh, that's a funny story. That's the principal's TV, and that's the head mason's moped. And basically, we knew one of you schmucks was going to show up and build it anyway. So, you know. And then it's like, wow, well, maybe I shouldn't even be here. So as many naive people do, I decided that I needed to go back to school because really I didn't know enough. So I came to MIT, and it was a wonderful experience, but I started getting frustrated again. So again, like the idea of a PhD, so I was doing a PhD, and it's funny because this was my old topic of research. I was doing environmental research in the ocean engineering program, thinking that, well, I can dig a latrine at a time for a long time, or I can start looking at big picture issues. And instead, I found out that it was just more of the same, big questions, no sense of how I was making a difference. They say that a PhD is your opportunity to so thoroughly exhaust your interest in a topic that you're free to go on and do other things. And in that sense, I was a prodigy. I was ready to go even before I finished my PhD. So around the room, kind of salted around the room strategically, are some of the Design That Matters founders. So this was a group of students at the Media Lab who were asking the same questions I was. How do I make my education more relevant? They had the idea of a seminar where students would pose questions to other students, and really we would try to do this, try to do Design That Matters. And that was the light that went off. That was the thing, the opportunity that I was waiting for. And it basically swallowed my life.